What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp, managing editor. Additional premium content. I'm filming a retro show this week, doing a Q&A show this week. The Fightful Select Weekender podcast have early access to a couple of interview clips up there now. You can see the Listen Your Boy intro a little bit early. I post the Fightful Wrestling Weekly there early as well. This show brought to you by Knockdown Sports Radio. Hosts Chris Callicutt and Cody Teague dive deeper into topical sports stories and explore the social relevance and fallout of those stories. I will actually be appearing on that show this week. I think it'll air this week as well. You can follow them at knockdown_media on Twitter. They are available on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, and more. Check them out. It's a lot of fun. Very excited to be on their show. I think we film that tomorrow night being Wednesday night. Knockdown Media on Twitter. Let them know you heard about them through us. Also, omg.com. You all have seen my lunches. You know they're delicious. You know they're beautiful. Part of that beauty is because of my boys over at omg.com. There is a food and fitness revolution happening, and our world has become flooded with processed, genetically modified foods. However, natural organic foods are by far the best options for optimal nutrition. Ghee is a superfood, according to many top nutritionists and athletes, because of its high, healthy fat content. You get those omega-3s, those omega-9s, those essential fatty acids. It's a great source of vitamin A, D, E, and K. It's not even an alternative to butter. I just use it instead of butter. Cooked some deer meat, some mixed veggies with it, threw that all together. It was delicious. OMG.com. On the MMA show, we had a Fightful promo code. Go check it out. Watch the show. We'll give you the code. Also, follow them at OMG Butter on Twitter. Let them know you heard about them through us. James says, how in the hell have we seen your lunches? Well, unlike James, some people follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Piss off, mate. I'm joined by one Jeffrey Hawkins. Jeff, what's up? We've never fought on the air. Me and Jimmy do, though.
We've fought occasionally.
I've not fought. Come on.
I
thought we would fight.
Did you? No, you just tape us without permission.
That's true. Permission. Okay, let me clear the air here because you and Anna make a big little pissy party about that. What I do is when we filmed the alternate commentary series, it was one long broadcast on Google Hangouts. Then I would edit it, chop it up, and divide the two alternate commentary stories. Is it my fault that you say something like, yeah, I remember that match. It was fucking miserable. Hey, Alex, how's the kid?
Big into revenge porn too, are you, Sean Ross Sapp? Is that? No, I actually was going to ask you, do you like venison?
I love venison. So on the MMA show, I told a story about the most hillbilly thing I've ever done in my life. I had a car that sat here. It was a junked car. It wasn't running. And a friend of mine who performs in demolition derbies messaged me and said, hey, how much would you sell the car for? And I said, if you stock my freezer with deer meat, we're good to go. And he did, God damn it. Best deal I ever made. I won that exchange.
I'm not a fan, but my dad has always tried to get me to like it because he's a deer hunter. So
I like it a lot more in stew and soups and stuff like that. Sometimes it can stick to your teeth if you just eat it regular. I've never had deer jerky. I'm going to try that. So obviously there's some big news today that even happened before SmackDown. And I really thought I don't think it was a mistake, a lot of the stories that emerged after this. I think WWE made an attempt to bury this news. And that was that Big Cass, 2 days after the best match of his life against Daniel Bryan, in my estimation, was released by WWE. Now, details are few and far between. I'm trying to find out. But, I mean, obviously Triple H isn't there right now. He's in Europe right now. There were rumors that this was a public meeting. I was told it was not a public meeting. Also, the people I spoke to didn't even spot Cass there. So whether that means he was there or not, I don't know, but they didn't see him there. Maybe he came in, hit the bricks after he got cut, and that was that. But Big Cass released. I'm still working to find out more, but man, this was a little bit surprising, although I have to admit I've heard some pretty wild stories over the past year or so about Cass. I know that management had some issues working with him, although they thought that it was wild stories over the past year or so about Cass. I know that management had some issues working with him, although they thought that it was just maybe who he was working with. You know what I mean? They thought that maybe that was a product of his frustrations, and I'm sure him tearing his ACL didn't cause any less frustration. They kind of hoped it would be different when he came back, but obviously there was a situation in which he went off script when he shouldn't have. I'll dive into that a little bit more, but I was also told a story about how a former employee, I don't want to say a wrestler, backstage employee, anything like that, showed up backstage last year and Cass was taking shots at him and asked him to leave the locker room. Like things like that I've heard about, and that's really weird. For all I know right now, Big Cass could have said, let me out. But I don't think that would get him out, especially considering the fact that Neville can't get out as well. What are your thoughts on this, Jeff?
He did something egregiously bad in order to get fired in public, or at least egregiously hurt somebody's feelings or something to that effect. Now that it's been kind of clarified, we haven't confirmed anything. So number one, we can't really speculate, but a one-on-one type of thing, it could be, you made fun of my steak wrap. I mean, it really could be anything penny ante. My personal thinking is that it's a number of things. It's not just one thing, and then just something kind of put it over the top where it's like, look, we have all this money now from our new TV deal. We're not necessarily in the business of quote unquote making stars. So spectacle guys, we don't need as much as we used to. We can take or leave you if you're going to try and big time us. And that's what that's my initial, that's what it smells like, is that he did something star type and just pissed somebody off and got fired for it.
Guys, I'm aware there is lag on the video. You all can avoid seeing our beautiful faces for a couple of moments. I think you're going to be okay. The issue with the situation with Big Cass going off the script came right after the Greatest Royal Rumble when they had the little person. And originally Daniel was supposed to make the save. His chest was still beat up so badly that they didn't feel comfortable putting Daniel Bryan on TV, and that got canceled, essentially. He was held off TV. Big Cass had pitched the idea of doing the beatdown that he did, and he was told, no, don't do that. Then he went out. At least that was the story I was told. Whether or not that's what happened, I don't know, but that's what I was told. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I don't think it has to. I mean, if it was going to have to do with that necessarily as the thing that did it, he wouldn't have been around for these next few weeks until. Although, you know what? Now that I think about it, maybe he would have. Maybe they would have kept him. Hey, we have these plans through now, and we're going to fire you right afterwards for doing this boneheaded thing. But I think it's just one in the ledger, and it's like, and it's just, certain number of hole punches, you get fired. And I think it's just like 2 or 3 things, and that was it. It surprised me that they mentioned him on television.
Me too. They mentioned him almost immediately on television.
Their move, first sentence out. Their move is usually to immediately, you are persona non grata. You don't exist. But maybe that's just one of those double reverse type things where you know what, we're gonna mention him on TV so that we don't bring attention to the fact that we didn't mention him on television.
Guys, yes, I am aware of the lag. You all will just have to deal with the lack of video. We're going to look like the old Matt Hardy, Matt Facts thing. As long as the audio works, that's what matters. You all can hear us. So that happened today. I'm going to work and try to find more. My God, I had a lot of the Fightful Wrestling Weekly done, but as it turns out, I'm going to have to reconfigure some of that. SmackDown Live, as a whole, what did you think tonight?
I thought this was a solid show. It seemed fairly apparent that they just wanted, they wanted something to fill the time because they are a little bit overextended with the UK shows and with the Raw last night and with Money in the Bank. The gauntlet match I liked in the first quarter of this show, first half hour, was dedicated to the women's division. I thought they did some good stuff here too. So, I mean, I had no issues with this show whatsoever.
Just a heads up, guys, I do have the Q&A form open on FightfulSelect.com. Even if you're not a member of Fightful Select, you can submit a question. If you decide to subscribe one day, go back, check it out. I'll have answered it. So that my first thing in the notes was Big Cass got fired today, and he was mentioned in the first minute by Paige. She runs down the show, and that's it. She's done for the night. Sometimes I feel bad that they fly people in for this.
Are you sure they flew her in and they didn't just tape that last week?
They should have. Well, I don't know.
Because they've been known to do that too.
They did that with Kofi, but they don't often do that when they have to really talk. When it's some nondescript thing like what New Day did a couple weeks ago, that's more like it. Carmela kicks off the show, which I said in January that she was going to go the furthest out of that trio. She has. She says that she's had to deal with a lot of insecurity issues. Then says, psych! This is the first time I've ever seen WWE do the attractive girl who isn't the greatest wrestler sympathizes with the crowd only to reveal she's faking it gag.
Sarcasm duly noted. I get that people are a bit miffed that they're basically running the Alexa Bliss playbook with Carmella. But I think the characters are slightly different enough where they can get away with it. Alexa is kind of the more devious due to her height type of character, and Carmella is more, I'm a pretty girl, I can't wrestle a lick. So I have to get wins through hook or by crook. I think they're two different characters. They're just different enough to be able to get away with this type of thing. But yeah, it's the same promo.
Asuka comes out, but it's really James Ellsworth. The big hog is back.
James Ellsworth.
The boyhood dream has come true.
James Ellsworth is fantastic, and he is what this act needs. I cannot stress how great. I loved this promo of his. I love, number one, the wink on Sunday was spectacular. But not only that, the way he does the whole Asuka mask take off, just like her as well. He's absolutely a fantastic patsy that can take a beating for Carmella. And I think it's going to inject new life into the character quite a bit.
I have an idea for this team, what their name should be. Carmella is the irresistible force, and Ellsworth's hog is the immovable object.
The sound of one hand clapping.
My hands, actually. How would you do that? Would I clap my leg or something?
Never mind.
That's the sound of a black mass hitting Lars Sullivan, or not. Or not. Our NXT post show in the archives now.
And the whole execution of this was pretty good too, especially just catching the Carmella kick right at that right moment. I liked Angry Asuka here too. I thought this segment was really, really good.
Asuka comes out, kicks Ellsworth, then she gets kicked by Carmella. So it looks like we're going to run this one back. Work a feud for a little while.
Sure, we're going to have Ellsworth get his butt kicked for a few weeks, and then Carmella will sneak out a win.
Looks like Charlotte's going to be out for a little while. She's getting some stuff handled. She's going to be in the ESPN body issue, as we saw. So who else would there be besides Becky for Carmella?
Naomi.
That they like to go there, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
I think Naomi would be better. Well, Naomi would probably, I think, be better served to appear with the Usos and a newly promoted Nikki Cross.
Well, Naomi was already at the top of the division a few months back. It's time to build Becky back up and let Asuka have a turn here. So, I mean, I have no issue with this right now.
The Iconics do something that many people have done, and that is wondering aloud what they're actually supposed to do while they're in Toledo.
Dayton still far worse than Toledo. I'm sorry. Dayton is the most boring city on earth.
Did a kickboxing camp in Dayton and can confirm. Mm-hmm. Can confirm.
Went there for the NCAA tournament one year and just nothing.
It's bad. They also make fun of Becky Lynch for being a sad little troll of a sidekick to Charlotte. Becky starts off on fire, and then they do the old pull the babyface's arm into the rope spot to turn the tides. But Becky controlled the match during the commercial, but then they switched the momentum right before we came back from the break to make it look like Billie Kay had been controlling it, even though we could see. I don't know if that forearm to the chest from Billie Kay is worth bumping for.
It was pretty bad. You know what? The one hiccup in this match, I didn't like the narrative that they're putting over here that somehow Becky is an absolute failure and this is what it shows when you just bounce back and keep going. I'm like, okay, look. No, number one, her having to wait for Alexa on the ladder there, it wasn't really failing. It was more stalling than anything. But it just seemed a little bit overwrought to be calling Becky a failure here. And that somehow it was devastating to her when after every pay-per-view, you're back in the ring doing another match in another program. I just found it kind of ham-fisted.
Usually Tom Phillips is so WWE washed and vanilla and basic that I don't notice anything from his commentary. Like I've tuned out the terrible O's, but not every suplex that Becky does is an exploder.
Right.
He called a wrist clutch suplex that. She dives onto Peyton ringside and then submits Billie with disarmor. This was whatever. This is what they're going
to do with the Iconics. Billie gets beat, Peyton interferes, and then Peyton wins when she's in the ring. I liked the nuance of Peyton kneeing Becky and then trying to wipe off dust off of her boot as if it made a mark or something. I thought that was kind of cool.
Backstage, Jeff Hardy gets a really weird, bad promo about Nakamura punching him RITP. He turns around, he's wearing his old face paint. So they're trying to add some flavor to him. Do you think we get the old music back?
We might. This is the wrong promo. Look, there's something wrong with Southern Hillbilly trying to preach Eastern philosophy. And
Nakamura owned him on the promo.
Yes, he did. I mean, Hardy's promo came off as kind of pretentious, and Nakamura came off really great, I thought.
Nakamura's was fantastic. He's one of the best promos on SmackDown right now.
Mm-hmm. He can say a lot he can say a lot just through how he says what little he actually says.
Well, the thing with him is like he, as a babyface, by how I always thought is he didn't need to say anything to do that. And now he says very little, and man, it accentuates that too. So he can get away with a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
But
as a babyface, all he needed to do was kick ass. As a heel, all he has to do is make those snarky kind of facials when he's saying something, and he's perfect.
He cut a great promo saying the only reason he lost, he being Shinsuke Nakamura, was the ref counted fast and didn't count in Japanese. Don't the Japanese refs count in English?
Yes.
I thought so. Oh, it was fantastic.
You know what else he should? He goes, well, he should probably said in Japan we get a 20 count. Just troll all the way through.
That would have been great. He trashes Jeff Hardy too. I thought it was very clever for them to have set up a reason for this a week ago, instead of forcing something that just wasn't natural. I thought overall this was a pretty well-written episode of SmackDown Live, all things considered. And I've rather enjoyed the show, probably for about the last month.
Well, it's interesting you say that. It's interesting you say that because we have a note coming up that totally kind of throws it out the window, I think. But continue.
We'll see, yeah. Rusev and Lana getting that dollar store money. Did you see that?
Yeah, they do
this.
And they also
when I see one.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But they never mentioned the store, did they?
Yeah, at the end, Snickers available at the dollar store.
Oh, okay, I didn't realize that. I know they've been doing that. I know that he also does, I believe, Cricket Wireless commercials now. He's a pretty darn good spokesperson.
Yeah, good for him. Hey, he's getting that money right now.
Mm-hmm.
Absent from tonight's show, worth noting, Charlotte Flair, Almas and Zelina, The Bar, Shelton Benjamin. Any of those stand out? Almas didn't get his match with Sin Cara because apparently Sin Cara got hurt.
No, none of those really stand out, to be honest. Any of those acts can be brought back and at any time.
Yeah, well, Sin Cara wrestled a couple days ago, so apparently he's fine. They need to do that damn match then.
Mm-hmm.
No Nikki Cross with Sanity. Did that surprise you, or do you think we're still going to see her very soon, considering that the Usos are the ones feuding with Sanity and there's no Naomi anywhere on the show?
I was surprised. I gotta be honest. I mean, I'm opinionating against my expectations, which is a problem, or what I want. I think Nikki Cross makes Sanity a better act. But if this is the way they're going to go, you can't debut her until Sanity's going for the tag titles. Yeah. And she comes out and she helps them win. And then she was in on it all along. Otherwise, if you waste her at Extreme Rules, it doesn't have as much oomph. It has to be the moment when they win the tag titles.
I think beyond her making the act better, I think she makes the act. Because I think nobody portrays that better than her.
Well, she makes the act really interesting. Good. She makes the act interesting because we don't have a lot of co-ed stables in WWE history.
Yeah, I'm with you. They attacked the Usos here, who had cut a promo about how dumb they used to look when they were trying to make a name for themselves. I thought that was kind of funny. They are able to take that and make it very good. But Sanity jumped the Usos. There is no match here. But the most decorated wrestler in TNA history, Eric Young, has debuted on the WWE main roster.
Two things. I liked Sanity's promo with the silhouettes on the wall. Yeah. I thought that was really, really cool. And Eric Young was also TNA's most versatile performer ever, in that he could do comedy, he could do the serious with World Elite, even though World Elite were kind of treated as afterthoughts 2 weeks after they debuted. But he did the geeky comedy, he did the good comedy, and he did the serious stuff. I think he has. I mean, it's nice that he's getting paid, and I'm happy for him.
Listen to this resume: TNA World Heavyweight Champion, TNA X Division Champion, TNA World Tag Team Champion twice. Then he held the version of the title as the NWA World Tag Team titles twice. He held the Knockouts Tag Team Championship with ODB. He held the Legends Championship, the Global Championship, the Television Championship, and the King of the Mountain Championship. All four versions of that title he held. He won the World Cup of Wrestling there. And most importantly, the TNA World Beer Drinking Championship.
That's a good one.
Do you remember that title? It was a toy spinner belt with a beer bottle on it. And James Storm carried it around. That was good stuff. The camera work on this entrance. Listen, man, I ate like a roll of those fruit Mentos before this, and I wanted to barf everywhere.
This was a first-year film student going in the booth and going, what are some cool effects I could do on my very first student film? We'll just go in and out with the zooms and quick cut, smoke, lights. Oh my God. I looked down at the floor until they had finally gotten in the ring.
Who is the moron that thinks this is a good idea? They should be ashamed of themselves.
Well, you see, their gimmick is chaos. So
chaos!
the camera work has to be chaos.
Oh, that's what brought in those fucking shakes. The Shield. Oh my God. Pissing me the hell off.
But I like the beatdown.
Yeah, I did too. SmackDown Tag Team Championships. For some reason, the Bludgeon Brothers are facing the Good Brothers again. Why? Why? Why?
Because they didn't want to put the bar in there against them, and that's the only other team on the roster.
New Day. You can put New Day in there.
Well, yeah, Big E in the gauntlet.
Bring back the Headbangers.
Oh, and another Spirit Squad run. Come on.
There you go. Why not? Would have made more sense. So Rowan hits a nice wheel kick, but he and Gallows take forever on the top rope for a superplex. Anderson gets just massacred on the apron. They put him on their shoulders, they being the Bludgeon Brothers, and then throw him forward, almost an inverted powerbomb style. Gallows is able to fight back after he gets worked over and lands a couple of big kicks. Anderson gets an impressive spine buster on Harper. Harper's a big boy to be throwing up like that. But Anderson walks into a black hole slam, and the bludgeoning gets the win. This wasn't bad at all. But before this, the Bludgeon Brothers were not connecting too well. What did you think of the match?
I thought it was okay. I actually kind of enjoyed the one Sunday a little bit better than this one. But I admit that, man, Anderson in a different world, I think he's just waiting for the time to go back to New Japan, to be honest with you. I mean, he's not going to get a singles push anywhere around here, and he really should get one. Gallows as your face in peril is an interesting concept, given how big he is. But I enjoyed it. It's one of those things where they've made tag teams on both shows so absolutely disposable at this point that you can't build any of them up.
We're talking 04, 05 level at this point.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking at the level where they were just putting singles wrestlers together and not really giving them team names. They've improved. They've packaged guys as teams. The problem is the matches aren't any different than singles matches, and the tag team matches every week are kind of the same kind of pattern, and everybody goes 50-50, some less so than others. And it's just really it's in dire straits compared to the legacy of the NXT tag division.
There's no reason with the level of talent that they have that they should marginalize tag teams to the degree in which they have. It's embarrassing.
It is.
It's sad. It's a real disservice to your viewer. It's a disservice to your roster. Gallows and Anderson not being utilized is going to go down as one of the biggest wastes in recent memory, in my estimation, because you have an instant connection with Finn Balor. You have an instant connection with AJ Styles. You have an instant feud between the two singles guys as it relates to those two. Then, what happens? They get themselves over as baby faces with their catchphrases and all that stuff. There's stuff there that is ready-made for a babyface run. Oh, they got themselves in the best shape they've ever been in? Ever been in? No, we still don't want to go with that. We still don't want to make it work. All their stuff
for Southpaw was genius too.
Yeah. It's embarrassing, man. It's rough. And this is a real indication of where I don't think WWE wanted somebody. They wanted New Japan to not have somebody.
Yes, I would agree with that.
That's a shame, especially for Carl Anderson, because we're probably talking about him main eventing some shows by now. At least a couple, or one or two here and there. He was
he was on the ascent in the G1.
Yeah, he was on his way to being a top guy.
He'd probably have a run with the U.S. title.
Yeah,
there.
And who knows what the future will hold, because I'm sure they'll welcome him back with open arms if he opts to go back. If he wants to go, because you know what,
money's good.
Ring of Honor would welcome him with open arms as well. It's weird. Daniel Bryan is coming out for his gauntlet match. His gauntlet match goes essentially a full hour. sees the Bludgeon Brothers on the ramp, just stares.
This is where you know how you're saying, man, this was really well scripted? This was the one misstep here for me. I don't understand why they do this melding of things. The Bludgeon Brothers can't walk backstage. We have to have Daniel Bryan come out right now for his match. I mean, are we short on time? Explain it to me. Explain why this week is different as opposed to every other week where they have it so patterned out. Why do we need it? The only reason they brought him out is for that double power bomb spot, which is also inexplicable, unless he's getting a tag partner for Extreme Rules, which I think might be the plan here.
Yeah, I do too, and that'll put the spotlight a little bit on this division, but I mean, it still reeks of let's keep Daniel Bryan away from the top picture. That's fine. I mean,
and it reeks of B-show filler feud.
Yes, it does. It really does. We'll talk more about that. Daniel Bryan backstage is interviewed by Renee Young. He takes a shot at The Miz. He says he's going to face 3 great superstars and The Miz. Legs, lung, and heart is brought back around. I thought every time he does this, I think he's going into the Captain Planet routine with the earth, wind, or not earth, wind. Yeah, earth, wind, fire, water, heart. There we go. And I bet if he could land a role as Captain America, that son of a bitch would do it.
Captain Planet, you mean?
Yeah, Captain Planet. My bad. Bryan's promo is not great, especially when he's next to somebody like Renee, who is so natural at doing that.
Legs, lungs, and heart is a T-shirt, isn't it? It's coming.
Oh, hell yeah, it's coming. Yeah.
They're pushing it.
So Big E versus Daniel Bryan are the first 2 combatants. I like putting Big E in this match. It makes him seem higher up. Daniel Bryan applies a surfboard, but Big E goes belly to belly overhead, then kills Daniel Bryan with a splash. Not nearly as much as Daniel Bryan almost killed himself by not tucking his chin on a power slam. Bro, what are you doing? What? This was worrisome to me.
There's a couple worrisome things in here. I see he's brought back. Has he done the headbutt spot?
I hadn't noticed it until tonight. He did that almost right after.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's. I think it's going to be a spot that he misses every time. I don't think he's ever going to hit it, but I found that interesting that that's back in his bag of tricks now.
Yeah, he shouldn't hit it, and he should very, very rarely go for it, in my estimation.
If I could get an All Japan style match, if I could take the WWE stuff out of it between these 4 competitors, circa 92, give me that Big E Rusev, give me that Rusev Samoa Joe Hoss match like Bam Bam versus Vader. God, I'd love that.
Yeah, I was very worried on that power slam attempt. Oh man, that was a horrifying one. Big E and Daniel Bryan rather worked very well together, I thought. Big E kills Daniel Bryan again with a clothesline after some drop kicks. Then Big E does this jackknife backbreaker that sounded like it hit real hard. Did you hear the yelp from Daniel Bryan?
Yes, the scream from Daniel Bryan did not sound like selling to me. It sounded like, I took that wrong. That hurt.
It sounded like he thought he was going to have to take it on his back or somewhere not. Well, he took it on his back, but it wasn't a flat back bump. It was the old breaker bump, and it was nasty. Hope he's okay. Bryan transitions in and out of submissions, almost gets power bombed. A YOLO dive leaves both men hurt, but Bryan gets the pin with his knee. What did you think of that YOLO dive?
I cringe every time I see it. I do. I mean, it's an impressive move. It just scares the hell out of me every time because he lands almost on his side, it seems, and that's gonna kill your hip sooner than later. But this match I liked. It's a nice change of pace for Big E. It was a little bit more of a serious Big E, and I also liked that the New Day weren't out there to do their stuff. I think it was a nice spotlight on what Big E, what we all thought Big E was going to be when they brought him up with the 5 count gimmick and all that other things. We thought, when he was NXT champ or at least, we all thought he was going to be future world champ on the main roster.
And I still think he can be a lot of those things. The guy's only 32, so he's got plenty of time, assuming that his body is holding up. And the guy's been in tag matches mostly for the last few years, so that kind of helps out with the bumps, considering that he's been the hot tag guy for, 4 years now?
Yeah,
so
but
that
the act
out.
is still printing money. So you
true.
never want, I mean, look, I could be world champ in a era where world champ doesn't mean a whole lot, or I could print more money and retire much earlier. I think he goes with the latter.
I'm with you. So Big E is eliminated. Samoa Joe joins. Joe stalks Bryan, who finally makes a comeback, only to be powerbombed, which Tom Phillips calls a power slam. Thankfully, Graves is quick to correct him. Joe turns it into the Billy Goat's curse, then an STF. Bryan gets out and starts to work over Joe's leg, but Joe regains control with a big senton. This is where the power slam happened, rather. It was with Joe, not with Big E, I should clarify. Joe applies the Kikina clutch outside, but gets counted out when Daniel Bryan slips out and runs back in. What did you think of this being the way to get Joe out of the match?
Interesting. I thought they were going to do the opposite. I thought Joe was keeping an eye on the ref so hard that he was going to hold it till about 8 and then run in, and that's how they're going to get rid of Bryan. The count was interesting because it was like 1, 2, it got to 5, and then it was like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Nakamura has a case.
I think he does. I think all Nakamura has to do is show the video of this.
I'm ready for it.
I love Joe and Bryan. I love that Joe turns Bryan's chest into hamburger meat. I think Joe's going to end up being the guy out of mutual respect to tag with Bryan against the Bludgeon Brothers.
Interesting. That would be a nice way to make that work, I think. So Samoa Joe is eliminated, and the Bludgeon Brothers come out and bludgeon bomb Bryan. I mean, if you're going to try to get them over, or at least get people to care about them, putting them in a program with Daniel Bryan is maybe your best bet. At least,
yeah, work for Cass. Come on.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I shouldn't say the best bet. Your cheapest bet.
This was a rather.
It's like putting a coin into a penny slot.
What did you think of this power bomb? Because this was one of the most dainty, soft power bombs I think I've ever seen on the main roster.
I probably just watched the guy take a power slam.
Yeah. Watch the neck. Watch the back. I've been killing myself. Yeah, I could see that being the case. Yeah, they like putting Bryan against this is their narrative that they're telling. Bryan against the Giants. David versus Goliath. They love this thing.
They do. They love it. Miz comes out. It's the skull-crushing finale on Daniel Bryan. I thought this was amazing professional wrestling storytelling long-term. This was real good shit, pal.
I liked that they didn't belabor the point. I liked that he immediately did it and immediately got the pin. And look, Daniel Bryan brings out something in the Miz in terms of Miz's anger when he throws him out of the ring and starts berating him. There's something about the Miz character in him that, look, it may not be real, but it feels real. Yes. So it's cool. So I love it. Yeah.
I love this. I can't wait to see this paid off eventually in a long, long feud.
This is one where you start it after Extreme Rules and you build it to Hell in the Cell.
Yep. Man. But I wonder if they're saving it for WrestleMania. Because that's what they do.
Yeah.
WrestleMania is 10 months away. Oh, man.
I do Hell in the Cell at WrestleMania with them there. This is a grudge match that needs a grudge match stipulation on the blow-off.
This is one of those situations I pitched last year, like ways to revitalize the Royal Rumble. One, make it mean something, first off. But if you're going to have the Royal Rumble not be the main event, I would rather the winner of the Royal Rumble just get to pick their own match at WrestleMania. Whatever match they want. Miz, this sneaky little bitch Miz finds a way to avoid Daniel Bryan in the Rumble, in the Chamber, at Survivor Series every time. Daniel Bryan says, I've headlined WrestleMania. I've won the title at WrestleMania. I want to kick Miz's ass at WrestleMania. I think that would be a good one for somebody to go through the Royal Rumble and just say, I want to kick the shit out of this guy so bad. I'm willing to forgo everything else. Maybe it would work, maybe it wouldn't. But
no, and I like the idea because for me, a lot of the Rumble has had no interest because only 4 guys can win, really. When you're thinking about, it's going to be it's a world title match. It's like, no, just have the guy, maybe one half of a certain tag team wins. They decide that they want a Texas Tornado whatever match. I think it would add some life into the Rumble if you did it that way.
It also doesn't help. I think one guy out of the last 10 years has won the Royal Rumble, then headlined WrestleMania. And I mean headlined. Went on last and won the title at WrestleMania. I think one guy. I think it was Cena against The Rock, I believe. Man. So Rusev is up next. Some good back and forth action between a couple of guys that fans care about. I was getting into it with Charles Robinson, of all people, this week on Twitter, who said, man, they're out there working their butts off. These fans don't even give it a chance. Well, fans don't give a shit about Roman Reigns or Jinder Mahal. They gave a shit about Rusev and Miz. They cared. Toledo cared. Toledo doesn't care about anything. Why would they? It's Toledo.
Just the mud hens.
That's all they care about. Did you see Being the Elite this week?
Yes.
Where was the worst town ever bit? In the worst town ever, San Antonio.
San Antonio, Texas.
Ugh. So the crowd cared about these two. And I think that's what you should do with a guy like a Roman Reigns. Put him with somebody that fans care about. Not that they dislike, that they care about.
Yeah, and they almost blew it. They almost blew it, I think, because they built a big-time star in Rusev in this match. Rusev was great in this match. All his facials, Miz selling for him. That spot, that clothesline in the corner spot where Rusev just kind of looks at him.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. And they almost ruined this entire thing by having Aiden English heel it up on the AJ style.
That was weird.
I think they're breaking him up. I think they're breaking him up now. I think that's the indication right there is those two shake hands. Aiden English comes in to quote unquote help, and now Rusev's gonna be mad at Aiden English for ruining his first chance at a singles title. But man, that was a misstep. Just have Aiden English be happy for his boy. That's all you had to do. And they did that, and I just went, that's
weird. I said it was an awkward ending. So big kicks from Rusev, but Miz couldn't apply the skull-crushing finale. Instead, Rusev gets sent into the stairs. A DDT couldn't win it for Miz, but then there were big Rusev Day chants. Miz tries Bryan's knee, another awesome touch, and gets kicked. Accolade, Rusev wins. I would not have Rusev heel it up. I would not have him be a heel. I would just have him soak it up and put on a real goddamn good match with AJ Styles. I think that's the right move.
I think you do that. I think you read the crowd in Pittsburgh at that time to determine who you do that, because I think they're going to baby Rusev up. I do. I think they're going to be chanting Rusev Day in Pittsburgh really, really loud. And AJ's good enough to play the heel in that role. I think you call it in the ring depending on how the crowd is reacting at the time.
I think that's probably a good move. AJ is one of those guys who, even as a babyface, like he exudes that dickhead vibe a little bit. Like if things don't go his way, he's a little, he gets a little frustrated easily.
He's Iceman in Top Gun. That's who he is. He's the guy who's really good, but he's a dick because he's so good.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. Fair assessment. Overall, I thought SmackDown was good. Extreme Rules is looking okay. I mean, I hate the idea of Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss again. That's stupid. It's, my God, I'm so over that feud. I don't want to see it again. I'm just so far past it. But the multi-man match is going to be good on the Raw end. WWE does multi-man matches. Well, every match is a multi-man match unless it's Kenny Omega fighting a blow-up doll. Then it's a one-man match. But the however many people are in that Raw main event, that's going to be real good because they always do those well. So you think we're going towards Samoa Joe and Daniel Bryan against the Bludgeon Brothers? That'll be a barn burner.
And then Joe can put him in the Coquina Clutch post match.
let me ask you the question that's on everybody's mind.
Uh-oh.
When Melissa produces List and Your Boy on Wednesday again, how do you think it'll turn out?
She'll be fine. It's not like Nigel does that much. I mean, come on.
He does. To be honest with you, there was a period last spring I spoke to Nigel more than my own wife because we were working on Wirecast so much together. I will say this. As a person who used to run tech at a short-form improv theater, take care of your producers and the people who have to deal with you on all these things. Sometimes things just don't work. And if you get all diva-ish from the stage to the guy in the booth, he's going to make your life hell. Don't make Melissa's life hell. She has things on the computer. She could turn you into listen. The reason that I'm not producing is because I wheel a green screen out behind me every single time and pretend I'm in Toronto or in a delivery room while James's wife is giving birth.
She could put you in some situations, with that green screen that could cause some trouble.
You're calling Melissa a producer. Let's not go crazy.
Well, it's like being a producer in Hollywood.
Interim producer at best is Melissa.
I think Melissa will do a fine job this week. I am on record as saying that, and then the rest of you haters can deal with her.
I will say, people who are legitimately hating, you can piss off. You're not allowed to do that. Only I'm allowed to bust her balls. You're not, people. Be nice. This will
set up the Nigel Melissa feud we've all been waiting for.
Goddamn Fightful Mania. You all can get a Fightful Mania shirt at ProWrestlingTees.com/Fightful. You can get this one. Point at the fucking sign. We also have those new white Fightful tees. I had those made because it's summer. I got to have something bright to wear. I got to have something nice and cool to wear. They are as soft as some OMG. Just lathered. If I could wear OMG, I would. If I could wear OMG,
no.
Well, see, the thing is, if I could wear OMGs, a cannibal's going to cook me because it's delicious. Mm-hmm. So that runs a risk. But if I could wear it while I appear on Knockdown Sports Radio this week, I would do that. Follow them at Knockdown_media. Follow our boys at OMG Butter. Jeff, what you got going on this week?
Good Lord, there's a lot to go over because Rob and I have to go over TakeOver. We have to go over Money in the Bank. We have to go over Raw. We have to go over SmackDown. We have to go over the UK tournament, all the happenings there. I am absolutely devastated that Ginny got hurt in that match because she is a fantastic act. We'll go over the big cast firing if there's any, because apparently there's going to be a story coming out about that tomorrow from Dave Meltzer. Sure. And I think possibly it's Rob's last show for now.
Really?
Don't know that for a fact, but this before Otani got hurt, this was gonna be it. But now that baseball might be done for me, might be looking for something to do.
Guys, I want to thank you all so much for joining me. We did pretty good numbers tonight. Spread the word about Fightful. I can't tell you how important it is. Word of mouth, just putting it out there on your Twitter. I like this shit. It goes a long way. We're trying to do things the right way, so leave us a thumbs up. Subscribe. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, Player FM, all over the place. Follow me at Sean Ross Sapp. Follow Jeff at CrapGame13. Follow us at Fightful Online. Most importantly, visit Fightful.com. Talk to me in that NBA draft thread. I am pumped. I'm pumped. We're out.